Okay, Andrew's Automotive Archaeology. This is tote number 38 from the Phillipson Ford buyout from July of 2021. And I've been kind of doing, since I got this, I've been kind of doing a little poking around trying to find some history on Phillipson Ford. And I did manage to get some more information. And I'd originally thought, my initial research, I'd thought that they had gone into business as Phillipson Ford after World War II, because Paul Phillipson, who was the last owner, when he retired in 2001, and they closed, I kept finding his name coming up. He was in the Navy in World War II, and then he went into partnership with his brother-in-law after he got back in 1949. And I thought that's when they opened it, but I kept running into stuff that was a lot of stuff that was pre-1949. So, it didn't quite jive with what I had discovered regarding that. And I did a little bit more poking around, and I found a website, Historic Argyle, which is an organization, kind of like a historical society. So I think they're a private historical society in the Argyle area. And I ran across some stuff that it said that the Phillipson brothers, and I know from the Wisconsin Historical Society, that the building that the Ford dealer was in was built in 1915. And I found, and it was at 108 South State Street. So I found an article that was published on this Historic Argyle's website, and they said that the Phillipson brothers built their garage in 1915 and opened up the business, Phillipson Garage. So clearly it was not founded by Paul Phillipson, because he wasn't born until 1927. So it was already around when he was born. So maybe an uncle, maybe his dad, I don't know, I'm not sure, I haven't figured that out yet. But they described the building as a garage with a large hall on the second floor called the Phillipson Opera House, which I already know. I've seen stuff, matchbook covers and so forth with Phillipson Opera House on them. And what it was a dance hall, and they hosted dances, graduations, etc. They also were the venue for wrestling and basketball for Argyle High School, or the local high school. So the basketball team and the wrestling team played there, had their matches there until I'm not sure when. I would imagine it's probably no later than 2001, but I would imagine sometime before that, because Argyle's a pretty small place, so for them to support their own school system, that probably didn't happen past the 80s, because there was a lot of consolidation in Minnesota. I know, where I grew up in the 80s, with some of these smaller school districts consolidating into one, and so maybe that happened there, but I don't know. I haven't done enough research on it. But Paul Phillipson he was born in 1927. He died in 2014 at the age of 80. I guess he was 87. And he got into the business in 1949, and he retired in 2001, and that's when they closed the business. That's when they closed it. They rented the first floor to a Napa Auto Parts, and all the Ford stuff that was down there, they just moved it up into the Opera House part, the dance hall part, and there it sat until last year, about a year ago. And the city of Argyle, the village of Argyle, got a state redevelopment grant for $250,000 to turn that building into commercial space on the first floor and apartments on the second floor. So that's why they needed to get the stuff out of there. So that's what I've gotten so far. I found me a few more photos, which I've already inserted into this video, so you'll be able to see those. But that's an interesting history. Beyond this point, I think I'd get into the history of the people involved and who owned it before Paul Phillipson was involved in it. But should be interesting. I'll keep digging. I'll probably make a video at some point with all of it in one place. Anyway, enough of that. I've got the tote open here. I'm going to just start throwing stuff out. I've got a stack of these over on a shelf over here. I think I've already got them listed singly. I'll just add one more inventory. This is what is it? D7TA, so it's 1977. I don't know, 77. I couldn't tell you how many years they used that. I don't remember, but that's a pretty good part. That'll sell. That's a truck part. This looks NOS. I'm not sure what it fits. I'll have to do some research, but I think that's maybe a tailgate latch. It's awfully big for a door latch. And I'm just gonna put this over here. I've actually got two of them over there. I'm sure I've got one more somewhere. Okay. Technical service bulletins. I run into these a lot. I had a bunch of these that I picked up from the little Dearborn buyout a few years ago. And also from about 8-9 years ago, I started buying from a guy locally whose uncle, and I never actually saw the warehouse, but he said he had warehouses full of old Ford parts, John Deere parts, GM parts. He said his uncle owned a bunch of dealerships, and he would, when a dealership went out of business, he would just buy up their inventory, and so he had all this inventory, and then it ended up in these warehouses and just kind of stayed there. And he would bring me $1,000 load. So I'd pay him $1,000. He'd bring me a load. I'd end up with $3,000 to $4,000 in sales, and so he knew that's what I was getting, and he was very fair about it. But he was just trying to liquidate this stuff as quickly as he could, and it was a fair good. It was a good source of parts, but it was really, really shady. He kind of made some hints about what the money was for, and I got the impression. I also saw that he'd had an arrest record for failure to pay child support, and from what he had said, I gathered that he was considerably behind in his child support, and I suspected that he was stealing this stuff from the estate and selling it to me so he could pay his child support. So I was like, I'm getting out of here before the cops end up on my door. So that was 8 years ago. I don't know if that was true or not, but anyway, the point of that story is I've got many folders of technical service bulletins going back, to the 60s from that lot, and there's a market for those. They sell. People are interested in the technical service bulletins. These are 1985. Yeah. 85, 13, July to December 1985. And here is February to June. So I'll probably put these up for 99-cent starting bid. I don't know. They sell. They don't sell for a lot, but they do sell. So I'll probably get 15, 20 pieces for them. Here is holy mackerel. Index 1980 through 1987 technical service bulletins. This is pretty amazing. The amount of so it's an index. So you've got here engine, cooling system, and exhaust. 4/17/1984, engine coolant, all engines, black oily substance in coolant reservoir, just for 1984. Then you move down here, and here's an oil leak, crankshaft seal, air pressure test, 1986, covers the years 1981 to 1986. Page after page after page. So yeah, it's interesting. it's interesting. I don't have a use for it, you know, reference-wise, but there are people that do. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm gonna have to set these down here because here we go. 1986. Calibration. God, this is amazing how much it's just how much information, paper information that a car company generates. I mean, you've got parts catalogs, service manuals, service bulletins, recalls, you know, all that stuff. Just reams and reams and reams. I can see why that they would just probably have just an archive. I mean, a whole squadron of archivists just to keep track of all this stuff and publish these, because these all had to, you know, they had to send one of these to every single one of their dealers. Because yeah, I worked for Taylor Corporation when I was in college, and probably nobody's heard of Taylor Corporation, but everybody's heard of Carlson Craft, the wedding invitations, and that's Taylor Corporation owns Carlson Craft. I worked for one of their other divisions that made envelopes. But in our building for a while was the catalog department for Carlson Craft, and it was 24 people working 2 shifts, 2 8-hour shifts a day, just making catalogs to send out to people, and it's just constant. They hand pasted all the stuff into the catalogs, and so if you ever gotten married and you're ordering your wedding invitations, the catalog that you looked in. So it's just amazing the amount of time and effort that's put into stuff like this. But this is real interesting. This is basic automotive electronics. Okay, this is Ford Parts and Service Division Training and Publications. Okay, automotive electronics. This stuff is hit or miss. This might do well, this might not. I don't know. Fundamentals of Technician's Reference Book. All this information is probably readily available on DVD if it's even needed. Oh, here we go. Technical Service Bulletin Index, 1984 to 1989. Index number 19. Wow. Oh God, this is just the index. Okay, so there's 20 Technical Service Bulletin indices for 1984 to 1989. There's at least 20 of them for that 5-year period. That's just the index. Each one of them is an inch thick almost. That's just the index to all the service bulletins. That would be a record-keeping nightmare. I'd probably have to slit my own wrists. Let's see. 1987. Okay, so this is a whole tote of technical service bulletins and indices just for the mid 80s. Handle, door exterior, poor appearance due to wax buildup. 86 to 88 Taurus and 88 Tempo. Wow. That's crazy. More technical service bulletins. 1984. Yeah, I will probably sell these all separately. Body wind noise, water leaks on the van. Yeah, probably start them up separately. I'll probably start them at $9.99 starting bid. But put these back in here. And I have one thing left. And I'm not really sure what this is. Youth Catalog. 2002 Youth Catalog. Huh. Well, this is the 2002. Okay, so they would have come out in 2001, so probably just, before he retired. I think this is a brochure of some kind. Okay. Focus Mustang ZX2 2002. There's a lot of body roll on that Mustang. This is cool. These are cool. I mean, this sort of thing will sell. I do have these similar ones for sale. The trucks and SUVs from the early 2000s, and these do pretty well. I usually sell them for $9.99 free shipping, so I make a few bucks on each one. But they're cool, and they're brand new. They're still in the box. In fact, I just took the tape off of this box, so it was never even opened. It was just stuck up there. So I am going to put these back in, and with that is the end of this tote. So, as usual, thanks for watching.